What is happening, HEXicans? What is happening, everyone worldwide? Hopefully, this one's coming through. Little bit of a delay, not too bad. Alright, it's all good. So, the thing that I wish I never read. You know, sometimes when, I don't know, like you just wish you didn't read something. Basically, because then, or watch something, or see something, or hear something. You know, when you read some bad information, that can't be true. And it is. It's really, really frustrating when that happens. I think you can all relate. I mean, there's different levels of it, with different severity levels, I guess, or consequences. But the main thing that this one, and why I wish I didn't read it, is because it relates to crypto, and I thought, well, I'll share it with you. It's not to do with interest rates or anything like that. I will cover later on some of the jab and what's going on across the world in business places. I'll also cover basically the Ukraine Russia war now, I guess you'd call it. I've been on the internet for a while. I've been trying to sort of detox, cleanse, you know, relax. So that's why I got the music in the background, sort of de-stressing. I tried playing video games, like it lasted about a month. I literally bought a new second hand. I got for dirt cheap a console. I just can't play them. I ended up basically like watching how to complete the video game, and then I found that more interesting because I wanted to see how it all ends. The next level, that is. I didn't want to see how I want it to end. But you know, when you're watching a documentary and it comes to the end, and you're like, I didn't want that to end, because you want to learn more. You want, especially the ones that cover topics like space. You know, I find that stuff really, really fascinating. Now, the thing I didn't want to read, I'm not sure anyone's even in here. Maybe I'll send a link out. Nah, we'll just let it go. Maybe I'll send it out for a change. I'm sure how to share the link. Share. We'll do it via Twitter. Twitter, man. Twitter's been a whole other thing. Whole nother thing. The whole yay thing. You beat on InfoWars. There's the whole Elon Musk Twitter space. I just feel like it's a huge, huge distraction. It's entertaining, it's pretty damn entertaining. But whether or not we're actually achieving anything or exchanging our, you know, instead of playing video games, maybe we're on Twitter and things like that, you know. Alright, I'll send this out. If anyone comes in. Alright, we got one viewer, cool. So, what I'll do, I'll read as a few more people come in. Basically, it's just mega Tether FUD. And I'm just like, cause you know, a lot of people have been covering this. But I haven't yet seen solid evidence of it. But now, when I hear it from this particular newsletter, I guess source of data, source of information, yeah, I'll just read what it says. Basically, all it's saying is this guy covered cryptocurrency from the beginning or thereabouts, and if I can find it. No, I probably won't share this because it's technically paid for, so I'll just reread a couple of paragraphs. Now, we got Bye Bye BlockFi. We'll probably know about that one. We can relate it to a House of Cards, basically saying, you know, Luna, Three Arrows Capital failed before FTX, BlockFi and others have failed since. Looks like Genesis may be next in line. Maybe next in line. Now, wish I could highlight this section, but I can't. I'll bring this section up, cover that next. Okay, here it is. This is the thing I wish I never read, because it's probably going to impact the cryptocurrency space, you know, and myself being in the cryptocurrency space as well as well as a lot of other HEXicans, this may well impact them as well. Now, it's basically saying, it actually is saying, and it might be accurate, you know, pretty good track record of being accurate. There's no actual like further details breaking down where the information came from or anything like that, but it basically does state that Tether does not have the liquid dollar assets it claims to support. It's 80 billion of coins issued. Whether Tether does collapse, the impact will be multiples of the FTX impact and will certainly affect mainstream finance, leading to bank and hedge fund failures. It's going to be insane. So I guess building the next paragraph I don't want to cover. If the Tether collapse is delayed somewhat, it will be because the CIA finds it so useful in financing Ukraine. In brackets, actually not brackets, can't think what they're called. A democratic money laundering scheme and so-called color revolutions around the world. Yeah, so it's all playing out before our eyes. Meanwhile, the crypto dominoes continue to fail, and will continue to fail until they've knocked down mainstream finance. So that's not the most positive, you know. That's why I wish I never read it, because it makes me wonder, okay, so all the FTX stuff is leading to what? And then we've got the Tether FUD, which turns out to be maybe more than FUD. So maybe, you know, 11k and Prey might come in to play, because it might be literally a prayer that it does not drop below 11k. But who's to say? Because everyone at the moment is talking about, you know, what if the Fed raises above the 0.5 to 0.75? That'll hurt the economy, and everyone's all scared about that. So because everyone's all scared about that, and then when it only increases by 0.5, that might be perceived as positive news for the economy. And it's all a big game. Not so much a conspiracy, but more a circus, a show, you know? Like, oh, look at this, and it's got the music playing, and people who read a lot of that, you know, and don't do any other, or have any other source of information, well, they're going to be led to the slaughter. So I haven't heard any updates on the rates yet. If I do hear anything, we'll make a live stream. It's been a while between streams. Like I said, I've been a little bit busy, just in real life stuff, and like I said, tried to detox from everything, tried to play computer games. I just can't do it anymore. I just don't see the point in them. And yeah, I said this earlier, basically ended up watching videos about people who are better than me playing the video games. It's quite funny. It's somewhat satisfying. It's really weird, but yeah. The other article, this one is also interesting. It is a breakdown of the FTX collapse just pushed crypto in the right direction. Now I won't break this down too much. I did like its closing comments, closing words. basically saying that this is the moment and a once in a lifetime chance for the blockchain community to come together, to come clean and give way to builders and innovators, creating new smart content and efficient solutions to real life problems. The industry must move away from pump and dump, speculation and hype to the responsible right direction, delivering on true promise of blockchain technology. The revolution of transparency and accountability that facilitates a more equitable, efficient and inclusive global economy. Now, I could spin that both ways and say, well, that could be pushing for some sort of central bank digital currency, Biden bucks, but I want to white pill it, and I like to believe the future will be good, as opposed to black pill and everything's going to be stuffed. The comments that I just read then, the words that I just read then, I can't help but think about Pulse Chain, PulseX, and Hex. And I guess everything else being built on that particular chain that is yet to be released. So that still has me scratching my head how so much development can be done. But I guess you got to build it, and they'll come. I'm guessing is the idea behind that. It has been a long time waited for it, so not sure if people who are building on the old fork of BSC, again, I'm not a developer or anything like that, so I don't understand the difference between BSC and a fork of ETH 2.0. Did hear there was some bug discovered on ETH 2.0, so maybe that's a positive. Software takes a long time to perfect and to be released. We'll see things be discovered that were discovered in the BSC smart chain, be discovered with ETH 2.0, and those things could be ironed out and will be functioning a lot more smoothly for any potential forks in the future moving forward. The whole RPC thing still has me quite concerned as to why and what it leads into, but then you can go on a particular website, look it up, and simply change your setting slightly, just to select a more a less traceable not network, but a less traceable option, I guess is the easiest way to say. Now, that being said, when you break that down further, when you enter into platforms and exit from platforms, I'm guessing, this is not having an understanding of how middlemen exchanges function, where they're getting their crypto from, what network they're running it from. So you get your fiat and you buy some, say, Ethereum from an exchange. Is it that their exchange, how does it all work? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I would assume that for the exchanges, when they conduct their business, if they have a network that is able to have some sort of log of IP address that it's being interacted with a wallet, it may sync up with the KYC data that was provided to that particular exchange. So, I don't agree with it, but when they're keeping records of all this data of individuals that could eventually be hacked and tracked and leaked everywhere, which is why I don't agree with it. But I guess their side would be that when you have to keep records of everything, and having a network that can, log IP addresses to particular wallets might be of some benefit. So when you're actually doing that, exchanging within exchanges, eventually one would imagine that your addresses are going to get logged anyway. I would imagine, because you're buying ETH and it's tracked, traced, logged, send it to another wallet, there's some sort of record of it. Even if, now correct me if I'm wrong, even if you do sort of run your own node or whatever, or select a different setting and have some more privacy orientated options selected, ultimately when you go the exit and entry point, you're probably still going to get logged anyway. That's just my thoughts. Again, don't agree with it, but I was really, took me a while to think about it and really backtrack and, you know, go through like a flow chart, a process of how and what could happen. And like I said, when you move in and out off an exchange, you're probably going to be logged anyway, which kind of sucks, you know. But moving on from that, so we got, I can't believe this guy, which leads me on to my next point. This one here. There we go. Again, CNBC, so going directly against what I just said before, that, you know, the mainstream media is leading everyone astray. It's not that they're leading everyone astray, but they all seem to have a similar talking point. And if those similar talking points aren't 100% maybe accurate, or maybe they've got their own spin on it, or maybe they have their own sort of banks to guide the information through, you know, like a riverbank, the water flows through it. So you've got the stream of information being guided by the banks, you know. Maybe, just maybe, they could be withholding, it could just be through sheer incompetence, relevant information or relevant context that might make their information that they present more useful, more accurate, because you or I might read the same thing and you might have a completely different take on what you just read. Simple as that. We all see the world through a different coloured lens. Some might be more positives, some might be more negative. Yeah, some might have more knowledge in a particular area. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on why things could be different that we interpret from the same piece of information. You could be a complete loon bird, right, and have your own insane thoughts on the world. And you could read the same piece of information and it somehow backs up your loon bird thinking. You could be like some insane professor that knows everything about everything, and it too backs up your your way of thinking. So it's funny like that. Like confirmation bias, maybe something like that. Now, I like the heading. If not when, if the US ever gets around to arresting him. There's a lot, so much out there. It'd be funny if someone was able to make an app that tracked this guy, like the same app that tracks Elon Musk's plane around. If someone could track his plane around, maybe, or something like that, it'd be kind of funny. But yeah, this headline sums up my frustrations. If the US ever gets around to arresting him. So we go back and have a look at the FTX saga. We go back and have a look what is crushed, what's been crushed. Now we've got, you know, bye BlockFi is the latest one. I'm actually losing track of the orders in which they all collapsed, because this email here doesn't even have Celsius, which was another one. It's just on and on. It's the house of cards, you know. And we've got what's coming next. Is it going to be Genesis? You know, the whole Tether FUD going on in the background. Now, I'm not a blockchain analysis on Tether. From memory, Tether does have, I'm pretty sure it runs on 2 different chains as well, or multiple chains depending. So yeah, that's why I really wish I didn't read the, yeah, that's right, not incompetent planned. What's up, HEXicans? Howdy. Hey, what's happening? But yeah, I was just saying before, the Tether FUD's gonna be so real when it unfolds. It's gonna be insane. Because we still have, like, I can't see the end of the recession coming anytime soon. Now, if it is some miracle, I don't know what, but I'm not reading many positive things coming. If anything, it's just going to be a drawn out, long, deep, hard landing. And I don't think they can just I think they've realized, oh, all this printing causes inflation, and now they're battling the inflation with the rates. I think today we had, was it today? Yeah, it was today, because we have every Tuesday. So it was yesterday. We have our equivalent of the Fed, the Reserve Bank of Australia, gets together to talk about rate increases, and they raised it again. So it's been like rate rise after rate rise after rate rise, just crushing the economy, because they have to, basically, because of the Fed's printing monetary policy. Yeah, oh my god, man. Yeah, I don't. Tether started on. I don't even know, man. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys know, are well versed in that, like, how far and wide that could reach. I guess I was looking at it and reading through, and it's funny because when you read how FTX, I guess if you were a victim of FTX, that sucks really bad, because you didn't maybe know what you're investing in, but say you had a small amount of crypto early on, and it increased to some insane figure. Now, when you lost that figure, it's not that you didn't have your keys and not your coins and everything, and not security and all the OPSEC stuff. But like, when you lose that, did you actually lose? What did you actually lose? What am I trying to say? If you had, say, $1,000, right, and you invested in FTX, that turned into like 50,000, 100,000, a million, something, I don't know. Then when you lost it all, was it even real world fiat that you lost, or was it the perception of value that you were interpreting on the screen from FTX? Like, it's really quite weird. I guess it's like the whole, was it SHIB, whatever it was? I can't remember. And someone had insane amounts of it, but it's like, if they were ever to sell it, how much would they actually be able to get out? That's different again, but it's kind of along the lines of what I was saying with this FTX thing. People perceived that they had mad gains, and then they didn't actually own the asset, and when it crumbled and collapsed, what did they actually lose? They'd already given it up at the beginning. It's like fake money. It's never existed. And as the email said, that's right. I hope not, man. I hope not. But as I was saying before, like, it's like, it's not even conspiracy. And I'm like, when I read it, I'm like, I wish I didn't read that, man. Where is it? Like, it actually says, like it says here, if, I'll repeat it because you guys might have missed it. If the Tether collapse is delayed somewhat, it will be because the CIA finds it so useful in financing Ukraine, in brackets, whatever they're called, a democratic money laundering scheme, and so-called color revolutions around the world. Like, literally in black and white, saying, oh, maybe. That sounds insane, right? It's just, I'm not reading going, oh my god. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And then I'm like, I have not been touching looking at, reading, consuming any Russia-Ukraine war news. And so then, of course, today I have a look, 2 hours ago, this article just points out that, like a drone hit a Russian oil depot a day after Ukraine strikes. Oh, hang on, sorry. Drone hits Russian oil depot day after Ukraine strikes deep inside Russia. So clearly we can see that's just getting better. Like, where are they getting these drones from? And proxy war. And again, maybe the CIA is involved in some of that as well. It's probably quite possible. But again, I have no information to read on that. But if you go back and follow the money and see where the weapons are coming from and how they're funneling them in and how they're being covered in the mainstream media and how everything's sort of like a big show, you know, to distract us all, basically. It's insane, and I have no idea how it's going to end, when it's going to end. It's just a nightmare. Meanwhile, you know, in the crypto space, I'm now getting like word that this is what's up, and this could be the next thing that collapses. So maybe, yeah, maybe. Just get out of fucking Tether. I don't know, man. Like, oh my god. And there's probably some other stuff that I've missed, like stables and sanctions and God knows what else. But anyway, back to another brief take on the world through my lens. Basically, I was let go because there was a policy, you know, and it was a company policy saying no jab, no job. And we see here that companies around the world are dropping the vaccine mandates. Now, I was late to this as well because I haven't been following stuff as closely as I had been. Basically, this was saying in, I think it's September. Yeah, September. Goldman Sachs lifted requirements everywhere, most of the requirements. JP Morgan Chase started hiring unvaccinated people again. And yeah, so it's across the board. Tie that in with other information coming out, and it just makes me wonder why we all decided to give up our freedoms, our freedom of movement, our freedom of speech, things that I sacrificed for as a political statement to the world, you know. But now on Twitter you might be able to talk about this stuff, but most probably other channels and platforms you can't heavily. If you're a larger individual, you probably can't even touch these topics because it's just taboo, you know. But yeah, so that's just another thing I've noticed. I'll play this. It's not that crypto related, but it's kind of interesting. Basically, it is the someone said, "You idiot," in Dr. Fukushima calls the Ministry of Health. So Dr. Fukushima in Japan calls the Ministry of Health, "You idiot." It's pretty interesting. I'll let it play through. Here we go. I'm probably going to be an ad or something.
Of tissue, consider the process.
It's 2 minutes 40, so
telling you about to conduct an investigation. No doctor can make a medical diagnosis simply by looking at such a piece of paper. I'm saying that you must look at the medical reports and do a proper investigation. There's no question about it. Stop the bad science and do the right science. That's enough. Looks like you're trying to destroy evidence.
Crazy.
Do the right thing, or you're just going to have a criminal lawsuit. Enough is enough. I don't care what you say. No one is going to be convinced by the process or bullshit things that you are talking about.
Well, of course, we will not only
what is it Albo got?
they are. We are trying.
You can't possibly
Yeah, I
have
saw
any way
that.
to evaluate it.
It's
What you need, clinically speaking, is that you need to look at the
Oh,
medical
shush.
records properly, look at the data, and do it properly and carefully, one case at a time. People's lives are at stake.
Yes, sir, we will make every effort to do so.
You idiot. Enough is enough. You have so many people here, but you are not getting anywhere. Lawmakers also came all the way here.
so yeah, you can see like the frustration, how it all became it became I guess a political statement that regarding a treatment, a medical treatment. We can see here that the current Prime Minister of Australia, after I think the 4th booster, so So whether or not he had the fourth total of 4 jabs, these people, like regardless of who they are still getting sick. I was like, this was my whole logical argument to explain to people who thought they knew better was, it's scientifically proven that the jab does not stop the infection. So people told us that. Anyway, going off in a bit of a vendetta-esque sort of rant. But yeah, the companies are now going, oh, look, we made everyone get jabs. We made everyone get jabbed, and people are still getting sick, and it's harder to do business. And logically, it made no sense. Let's get rid of it. And I think it even says here, read between the lines. Things have changed, A time when vaccination was seen as very effective against spreading disease. Now with the variants, that's less true. That's less, because they wouldn't have known this, because, there's always been a new jab for the common flu, because they were never able to eradicate it, because it kept changing. Anyway. That is about where I'm up to. I'm tempted to read Spars. I'll read Spars because I haven't done it. And how long was this stream going for? I meant to put it's 31 minutes. I might pull the plug here, because I'll read Spars next time. So I haven't got much else. Like I said, crypto is under the spotlight across the board. We're seeing failures after failure after failure. Where I was working. Yeah, I've got a pretty similar story. Like, I literally just tried to point out that, like, we all have informed consent, and basically I was not going to consent to this particular treatment, but everyone was so certain that at the time, it could stop it. I think there was news reporters from the US saying it's going to stop it. I had a tweet the other day, and it was like everyone praising the Chinese protesters for standing up against their their regulations, but then if you not from China in your country stand up against regulations, it's somehow bad. It's just, the logic is just gone, and I don't know where it's gone. Hey, what is happening? It's very late in the night here in Australia. It is about, it's just after 1 o'clock actually where I am. 11:30 p.m. Japan, 8:30 is it Texas? Not sure why I've got those times up. I think it's sort of like a nice even. I probably should have London in there as well. But yeah, HEXicans worldwide. Yeah, not a lot going on. Just like I said, I read a newsletter, an email, basically saying Tether's just stuffed, and whether or not and how long is under question. And once that fails, basically expect bad things. And this is on top of the on top of the economy brought about by the whole jab and whatever, the supply lines, and this is on top of the whole companies being, like, small businesses being crushed, and schooling being crushed, and children's development being crushed, freedoms being crushed, on top of the whole Ukraine-Russia war and how that's affecting the world, on top of everything else I just mentioned. And then we've got the FTX, and then we've got, if the US ever gets around to arresting him, And then we got, you know, this could be the moment, once in a lifetime chance for the cryptocurrency community to get together and, you know, all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. But it could also be a time where more regulation is sort of pushed on everyone through lack of understanding. I think there's a particular politician here in Australia, can't think of his name. He keeps pushing for, like, he's like, oh, the evil government is not doing enough to regulate us all, and if we had better regulation, then people would not be scammed by FTX. I'm thinking, you're not even addressing the differences between cryptocurrency and holding your keys and storing your coins and giving your coins to a middleman exchange, which is like not good to do. But of course the argument is the entire crypto space is bad and needs more regulation from us, the government, to help you all, because, you know, we're the nanny nation, and we as politicians tell you, the sheeple, how to live, and we will impose our wise knowledge regarding cryptocurrency upon you. You know, not the experts in the field, not the people that actually understand and use this and have been watching it for a long time. No, not them. They're not going to impose anything or tell you, you know, or suggest that, you know, hold your keys, you know, what's good operational security, have some people who can read code, have a community built around that sort of understanding, and not to provide any financial advice and things like that, but more to teach people what is crypto and what isn't crypto. And as we watch companies step back against their vaccine mandates, we are seeing FTX and exchanges, I guess, tied to them or doing business with them, fail. And as they fail, we can see who was really cryptocurrency to begin with. On top of that, we can see, as someone mentioned in the chat before, basically, so Tether started on... Tether basically has been doing its thing, and it's been building up. And like FTX, when it fails, when it collapses, and people lose all their money, what did they really lose? You know, was it that they held all their coins and they lost them, or was it that it was so what do they say? Not backed. So if it's not backed by anything, what's going to happen when it collapses? And what's built upon it? You know, all the derivatives, all the loans, all the leverage trading, everything. And then it's the email implies it will certainly, the word certain was used, it will certainly affect mainstream finance, leading to bank and hedge fund failures. So it's not just going to be people like retail investors, you know, mucking around with doggy coins or something. It's actually going to be mainstream finance is going to get, what's the word? Going to get caught up in it all, and they're not going to know what to do. They're going to fail. And it's just going to be like a domino effect. And this is on top of the rates and on top of everything else happening. So the only positive thing that I can see come out of all of this is sort of in line with this, in terms of, I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because if the Tether FUD hits, it could be, you know, another crash. But yeah, like I said, the real crypto is going to shine brightest in the darkest of moments. Or you could say it another way, that the light shines brightest in the dark, because, you know, there's a lot of dark coming. And I honestly think if you're holding Hex, if and when Pulse Chain drops, and if and when you get your tokens, and if and when there's an up and running exchange that I'm assuming will not be logging everything about everyone, and we'll have an infrastructure built on it, developed by people who, you know, actually maybe try to inform the world to get all their crypto off of BS exchanges like FTX, like Celsius, BlockFi, all the other ones. You know, maybe that is going to be the thing that shines in the darkness. You know, fingers crossed. I mean, yeah, Bitcoin's going to be there, Ethereum's going to be there, or ETH 2.0 or whatever. But what else is going on? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting, maybe I'm blindsided by, like not looking into other things. But honestly, there's not a lot else that I'm seeing, especially with the community, the understanding, the knowledge base that exists within the Hexican community. It just doesn't seem to exist anywhere else. There might be other communities, but they're just pure like shills, and whether or not they're having understanding, whether or not they try and inform others about the perils of middleman exchanges, whether or not they have a founder that's even public, you know, like where's Satoshi Nakamoto or Central Intelligence? Shit. What's happening to FTX could really happen to... Yeah, well, not sure how to interpret that one. What's happening to FTX could really happen to politicians around the round table. Yeah, I don't want to touch politics too much because, like I said, there's one guy in Australia and I think he means well, but I think at the same time it's just how to get a point on the other person. Then afterwards, after they've tried to get their point on the other person because they're on the opposition, they go and like go to the pub and drink together and talk, you know, just talk normally. And they get paid to do it. And we pay them. We, the taxpayers, pay the politicians. They work for us, but it seems to have become twisted in the interpretation whereby they can impose upon the servants, the slaves. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe not all politicians think like that. Maybe that's just the way I think. But the way I viewed the whole lockdown and its absolute undeniability that the world changed since, in regards to Australia, in regards to the ability to even talk about things that were different to the mainstream media, it's just becoming more and more obvious that there does appear to be, you know, general talking points in the mainstream media, whether that be crypto is bad, whether that be, you know, get the certain treatment, or whether that be this political party is leaning this way or that way. It's more often than not very lined up when you analyze mainstream media from both sides, and then again you could look into who owns the particular media outlet that you're viewing, where its ownership lies and how they're affiliated. You might see different talking points. It becomes quite obvious. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, we really need to take a step back from all that crap, because it does us no good, I don't think. Says the man who like analyzes it constantly and try and get some our own real true understanding and logic behind it, and then form our own opinions and question the mainstream narrative, whether or not it makes sense, question the politicians, whether or not they make sense, whether or not they know what they're even talking about. Because it just becomes really frustrating when I get told, when I read or hear about articles and they're pushing a certain agenda, when I have a deeper understanding of that agenda, and I disagree with that agenda, why are we subject to this again? it almost gets to the point where maybe we need to just actually get involved politically where we can, where we feel comfortable to do so, and get the right message across, get the right information out there. Point out that it's not all cryptocurrency. It's maybe these exchanges, and look into what happened with the exchanges, and then maybe people will realize that there is a place for DeFi. There is a place for decentralized exchanges. There is a place for on-chain data, which is what the blockchain's for, and products like Hex, finished products, and you can see on-chain what's happening. But that's too hard to explain to people. They'd just rather, watch the celebrities and listen to the TV and the ads. We tried. We all tried. I like to think everyone who understood this tried to help other people. But obviously, our reach, individually, was not as great as a big, mega corporation. A war machine, But as the global awakening continues, more and more of us, begin to really wake up. Maybe we will have the ability to speak up, speak out, project outwards, not be programmed by the programs we see on TV. That's why they call them programs. They are programming you. I guess in the same way, if you listen to anything I say, I could be programming you in some way, and vice versa. You are the company you keep, I would say, very strongly. But yeah. The only other thing I can say about politicians would be what is happening with Twitter, Elon Musk, and not Joe Biden, the Hunter Biden laptop story, and how that was handled, and how Twitter handled the information given to them, and how they were able to, or be requested by certain agencies to not release information at certain times, and how that then, my analysis on top of that is then how that then could have affected the election. Not that there was mass election rigging or anything like that, but if certain platforms are censored, or if certain information is censored, logically that could stop people hearing about it, and logically that could affect people's decisions. Like, because I keep saying, going back to the programming, if you have free will to do whatever you want, but imagine if you turn on the TV, that's the only information source you had, and it told you something absolutely insane. You just keep repeating it over and over again. Imagine if it wasn't even real, wasn't even close to being real. But imagine if they keep repeating the same thing over and over again. You would probably believe it. You would probably repeat it, and everyone else who agreed with that and who watched that and consumed that would probably form a close bond and get along really well. It's quite disturbing when you think about it. Quite disturbing. But yeah, that is about it. I'll wrap this one up because I was only going to be 30 minutes and it's gone a little bit over. I will read Spars. Basically, yeah, it happened, and the playbook's here. Once I get into the later sections of the playbook, it will become more clear where everything happened, and how everything happened and how it's all going to end. Not so much like where it came from or why it came from that place, but it's just more when the panic was happening and when the whole pandemic was being rolled out, what was the playbook used and why was it being used in that way, and how they'll try and alleviate some communication issues between, I guess, literally the politicians and the people, and the intermediaries, it's just crazy. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully did make you dumber, and hopefully sort of provoked some thoughts. You know, it's just really frustrating to see the world the way it is. It's just not good, and I don't want to be, like I said earlier, I don't want to be like full on like black pill and everything. It's just crap. I like to think, you know, something positive is going to come out of all of this. Similar to, you know, they say that once you've been red pilled, I think they say this, could be paraphrasing wrong. Basically, once you've been red pilled, you're either going to be white pilled or black pilled, and again, choice is up to you. Whether you get red pilled to begin with, and then how you view the world. And then next question is how you're going to change and influence the world, how you can project your power upon everyone, peacefully, politically, legally, and lawfully. You know, pretty sure there's a lot more people that think in a similar way to me out there than there is that think. I don't know how other people think even, but when I hear politicians speak in a certain way, or just the most illogical things ever that I hear coming from the mouths of politicians, I really wonder how they are leading us and we're not leading them. It's crazy. Alright, we'll do. Thank you everyone again for tuning in, and yeah, let's go HEXicans.